Hello, Lose Weight with Macros family. Welcome to a brand new episode of Lose Weight with Macros, the basic podcast with me, your host, Verona. And today is the day that you are going to learn 5 reasons why you're not losing weight. And let's get into today's episode. Hello, Lose Weight with Macros, the basics podcast family. I'm your host, Verona. And if you're new here, welcome to the show. I'm a nutrition coach who believes in the power of real life tools to create healthy habits. I help busy women like you get rid of the stress and emotional eating that keeps you from creating resilient, lifelong habits that, quite frankly, you can trust. Instead of giving you another boring diet or workout plan or bland salad and tell you just to eat a whole heap of salad leaves while your family chow down on your favorite meals in the corner and you are regretfully eating that bowl of dry salad, I'm gonna help you learn how to use macros to lose fat, keep it off, and rebuild that confidence that diets often strip us of. That insecurity, that fear, that no longer feeling confident in our bodies that we know we need to get rid of. Friends, if this sounds like your cup of tea, grab your tea, your coffee, and your notepad and pen, because today's episode, friends, is gonna be a juicy one. So, if you're like a lot of women, you've been following the same old boring diet and exercise plan for years, and now it's got to the point where you're frustrated, you're tired, you are beyond fed up and beyond bored because you know you're not losing weight and you know painfully that what you're doing isn't actually working. But when it comes to it, reality is you don't actually know what else to do. Here's one thing that you need to stop doing. Stop beating yourself up about it, because that can happen. We can get so caught up in beating ourselves up that we actually don't know how to do anything positive. And no matter how successful you are in your day-to-day life, when it comes to your nutrition and when it comes to your body, that is the one key area where you're not tracking your macros successfully. And you know it. You know that you are tracking, but you're not taking it seriously, because 50% of the time, you're not paying attention to meeting your macros. Even though you've got a macros count, even though you have a loose idea of what your numbers should be, you know that you're going over your macros 50% of the time. And one of the things for you that you find it a challenge is you don't really know how to start focusing and honing in on that number to make it easier for you, to make it actually work for you. That's the difference between getting something that's customized and the difference between something that is just done. Somebody hands you a set of numbers and you're expected to go away and do it. Now, when it comes to nutrition and when it comes to macros, one of the key things to macros is it gives you accountability and it can help encourage you to be consistent. The only person that allows you to be consistent is yourself. So, with that said, I remember when it was myself, when I was doing keto. Now, I talk about keto quite often. Well, not too often that I'm recommending it, but I did keto a few years back. And I will link it in the show notes, part 1 and part 2. It was so juicy, I did 2-part episodes to it. And that's giving you the overview, the breakdown, the science, who it's for, who it isn't for, all of those things, and my experience also. So I decided I wanted to lose weight. And what happened was I started to look in the mirror. And you know when you look in the mirror, and that one day when you actually take notice of how you look in the mirror. So this was one of those days. I looked in the mirror and I just saw my belly was just overhanging. And I was like, ugh, literally disgusted at what I could see. It wasn't just my belly, it was my arms. I began to see dimples of cellulite. Now, we all have cellulite in our bodies and that happens and that's normal. However, for me, I could just see big Michelin arms. That's all I could see. I could see a big belly looking like I was pregnant. I've not had children, so I shouldn't really have this belly. I've got skinny arms, skinny legs, no bum, and I've just got fat all up. My back was so broad. And I was like, ugh, that's all I said. And then I remember meeting up with somebody and they said to me, they looked good. They showed, you know, when you see someone's before and after photos and you look at it and you're like, no, you need to tell me what you're eating. You need to tell me what your macros are. You need to tell me what your diet is like, because I want to do everything that you're doing. Oh, and if you're exercising, throw in the exercise plan there too, because girl, I want to lose fat. I want to lose my belly because that's the biggest contention for me. And then I used to go and do Google searches, how to lose belly fat fast. Now, some of you might actually go and take that and go and do that yourself. Let me know how that goes for you, because it didn't really go well for me. So I started the ketogenic diet. It's not a lifestyle, it is definitely a diet, because you're restricting yourself from carbohydrates just to lose weight. That's what the definition of diet actually is. So when I decided to do keto, I thought this was amazing. And I'm coming to the point here. The reason why I didn't start losing weight, even though I was doing 4 days of exercise in a row, Monday to Thursday. Cardio I did, and I did a bit of strength on the Monday. Cardio was just as intense as the strength. And then I repeated that throughout the 4 days. Took a break on Friday and did the same. Or I got in my head that in order for me to lose fat faster, I needed to cut out all carbs and I needed to work myself in the ground to the point of injury. And that's what I did. And did I lose weight? No, I didn't. I didn't lose weight. I actually stopped losing weight. Now, I lost a lot of water weight. And what actually did happen is I actually reduced the amount of sweets and fatty foods that I started to eat. Now, when I became a macros coach, I decided I'm not going to restrict myself anymore. And I still lose weight, even though I'm eating simple carbohydrates and all my favorite foods. This is why I'm a macros coach, to teach you how to do that and to teach you out of that cycle of yo-yo dieting. But when it comes to why you're not losing weight, one of the things I want to encourage you is to stop beating yourself up, because it is now time to do so. And now we're going to go into some of the reasons why you might not be losing weight while you're stuck in this yo-yo dieting cycle. So, number one, you're not being specific enough. Now, the problem when it comes to losing weight is that it can be vague. It's a vague, wishy-washy goal, and your brain doesn't really know how to respond. And that's why so many of us, you and I included, even though I was doing 2 workouts a day because that's what everybody said to do, and I was cutting out carbs, I actually stopped losing weight. Now, the thing is, that's often why we end up failing, because we don't actually know, and I didn't know at that time, what we were doing wrong or what we should be doing differently, because we're so used to searching online, or we're so used to hearing it from somebody else, that we don't actually take the time to figure out what our body needs and just simply give it what it's asking for. We tend to do all sorts of flowery stuff. Actually, it does not work. It's a bit like you go into somebody and asking them a question. They go all around the houses, up, down the mountains, round and round the circles to tell you a long-winded answer when they just simply could have said yes or no. It's a little bit like you asking someone to do you a favor, and instead of them saying no, they make up all kind of nonsense stories. Oh, well, I've got to take the kids out today, blah, 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 blah. And you're getting frustrated, and it's like you end up asking them, do you want to do this? Do you want to come? Do you want to do this? Not really, no. And you're like, well, you could have just said that in the first place. Not just give me this long-winded answer. You should have just said yes. You should have just said no. That's simple as that. And that's the same thing when it comes to not being specific enough, which is why on Focus on the Fat Loss and one-to-one coaching, this is the first module that you will do when you work with me and when you sign up to the new year round, the 2023 round. The waitlist is open now, so you can go and join the waitlist via nutritioncoaching.co.uk/focus to sign up to the 8-week group coaching macros program. If you are somebody who says this is expensive, then this is not the program for you. I am not your coach. Simple as that. Number 2, you're not tracking your progress. Now, if you don't have any data to show where you are now and where you want to go, how are you ever going to get anywhere? Like, tracking your progress lets you see exactly how far along the path of your transformation journey that you are. And it gives you concrete evidence that it can be done. And that's one of the biggest things. We often doubt ourselves because of the things that we've gone through in the past. A little bit like a relationship. If you've been in a relationship that's verbally abusive, he's a little bit controlling. I'm talking real abuse here. And sometimes verbal abuse doesn't always amount to physical abuse, but any form of you've settled or you've accepted less than you are, anything like that in a relationship. It doesn't have to be a relationship. It can also be a friendship. And so when you start to accept less than what you're worth, this then affects your output. And so if you've had that negative experience in the past, when you start to do something new, or you've done a diet and it's failed and you feel like a failure so many times, when you start a new thing, i.e. I'm talking about Focus on the Fat Loss and there's spaces for 20 women to join, i.e. when you start to hear that, you're like, no, you start to digress back into your old way of thinking, your habits, your mindsets that have actually kept you stuck. And sometimes we just have to do it. Regardless of what we're hearing, the negativity that we're hearing, the thoughts that are going around in our minds, regardless of that, we have to take a step. because if we don't take a step, we're going to stay in the same place. So one of the things that I want you to learn, if this is the only thing you take from this episode, know that you can do it and you have to take that step. Number 3, you don't have a plan of attack for the biggest roadblocks to your success. When it comes to roadblocks, they can be a huge obstacle for anyone looking to lose weight or make changes in their life. But the worst part about them is that they'll usually come out of nowhere. If you're still in that stage of your life where you are still in your menstrual cycle stage, it's a little bit like those cravings. One minute you're feeling great, the next that you're like, bam, I could have something sweet right now. That's exactly what it's like when you are not being aware of your roadblocks to success. So when they arrive unexpectedly, it's easy to get discouraged and give up before you've even tried anything. If you've been knocked down, you better get back up again. And that's how I coach my clients. We knock down 7 times. The Bible actually has a scripture about a just man falls 7 times, but he gets back up again. So he, she, you, I, when you fall, and sometimes life has a tendency to knock us down. It's almost like we get knocked out by life. But friends, if you are still breathing, if you're still alive, if you're awake, if you've lived to see a new day, that means that you can get up and start again. It's going to be hard. It's still going to be challenging. There are going to be challenges, but you got to get up. You have to get up. You cannot stay down where you are, because figuratively, like, people are going to step all over you. And number 4, you have unrealistic expectations of what losing weight should look like, which then ends up leading to you being frustrated. And then you end up getting short-term successes that end up being failures and long-term disappointments. Instead of repeating this over and over and over again, have a look at what it is that you're expecting from your weight loss. If you're doing a fad diet that's designed to get quick fixes and quick wins, but never really addresses your root cause or your addiction to why you go to turn to fast food in the first place, if you're angry, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling overlooked for promotions, for relationships, all of those things, why is it that you naturally tend to go to this particular type of food in copious amounts that are not designed for our bodies to have in one sitting? When you're undoing these things, it then equips you to learn how to lose weight effectively. And number 5 is you're not getting enough sleep. Now, when it comes to sleep, sleep is key. Sleep doesn't necessarily help you lose weight, but it does affect your ability to lose weight, and it also does affect your metabolism. Another thing that sleep does, it causes your hormones to be out of sync. It causes havoc on your hormones. So your body is so confused. It doesn't really know whether you're full up, or it doesn't really know how to control your craving hormones. If you've ever been in a room where someone is saying this and someone is saying that, let's say your weight loss journey, let's say you've typed in, how do you track your macros? How many macros should I eat to lose weight? What should my protein levels be? Why am I not losing weight? I stood on the scale's gone up. What am I doing wrong? If you've asked yourself those questions, check your sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? Sometimes we might ask the question, but we never really hang around or do the digging that we need to do in order for us to get the right answer. Now, if you're somebody who's struggling with macros, you don't know what your macros should be, you don't even know what macros are, you just stumbled upon this episode and you like the sound of my voice or you like my accent, as many of my American friends do, then go and download the free 5 minutes to macros guide, vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/macros guide. Done it 5 minutes. It's not reams and reams and reams of text or paper. It literally gives you everything you need to know succinctly to decide, do you want to be able to understand what your macros are and have a personalized macros count for you? If you're a macros pro, you're seasoned, you know what you're doing, but you're not really consistent in your macros. Now, if you're somebody who's tracked consistently for a while, but you've skipped those days where you thought that you were over your macros because you have been told beforehand, then head over to the website vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/custom-macros. That's where I am calculating your macros for you. So if you're somebody who has a hard time doing it and you know this is something that you need to do, then I am going to work for you. Even if you're somebody who's been tracking MyFitnessPal for about a month and you've tracked everything, but then you find that you're not hitting your carbs or you just go over on your fat. You're struggling to hit your protein, you're struggling to hit your carbs, but you want somebody to take a look at that and give you ideas, give you skill, give you tools and give you strategies as to how you can hone in on your protein and how you can hit your fats without worrying about whether or not you go over or under. This is the guide that you need. vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/custom-macros. And that, my friends, is 5 reasons why you might not be losing weight and what you can do about it. If you're new here, please go and leave a review over on iTunes. If you are a part of the Apple family, I can't wait to catch you. Don't forget to fill out the survey, which will be linked in the show notes below. I will also link the 2-part episode that I did on the ketogenic diet for you to hear my experience and the science on that. And that, my friends, is the end of today's episode. I can't wait to catch you in the next one. Friends, we've come through to the end of today's episode. I hope you learned something valuable from today's episode and can put it right into practice now that the episode has ended. If you found value in this episode, do share it with somebody else who can also benefit from today's episode. My friends, don't forget to download your freebies over on the website via nutritioncoaching.co.uk and also be in with a chance of coming live on air with me to get yourself some free Coach Fridays by leaving your question over on the brand new podcast page. vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/podcast is where you can leave me a question and I'll answer it over here on one of the episodes. And that's all we got time for, friends. I can't wait to catch you in the next episode.